So half your software is no longer working properly after accidentally upgrading your macOS. Your printer no longer prints, iCloud is not synchronizing. Your Mac is running slow, become unstable or consistently freezing. On top of all this, your favourite software package that you paid hundreds, in some cases thousands of pounds for a few years ago is now subscription based. So you're expected to pay monthly for that new version that should work, but causes problems elsewhere. It's not always the best answer, but sometimes backdating can certainly save you a lot of time and money. Apple does not make this easy, backdating, but stay tuned and I'll show you how. Adobe software older than Creative Cloud CC is officially not supported with 10.14 Mojave and onwards, meaning that version of CS6 you purchased in excess of £1,000 several years ago no longer works. You now have to upgrade to a monthly subscription plan. It worked perfectly fine until you updated your OS, and with Apple consistently nagging you to update, you hit that update button and now your whole world's turned upside down. Now, it's not just Adobe. Microsoft also worked perfectly fine until you did the update. Vectorworks too, even with your backup software. Okay, if you're a business that has, let's say, 10 Macs and the thought of spending £18,000 on Adobe software may have put you off, as it was around £1,800 a seat. So now to spend £59 every month per machine has made it become a lot easier to swallow that expense rather than that one big hit. But for the individual who does the occasional magazine for the local church and doesn't need all the latest fancy features, it's a bitter pill to swallow. Especially after having spent a small fortune purchasing the software just 5 years ago, expecting to get longer use out of it than they did. Now, picking the right operating system is important. It's often a balance between performance, running the software that you need for your business, keeping yourself secure, and being able to browse the internet. My personal favourite operating system, depending on the computer you are using, is 10.10 Yosemite, 10.12 Sierra, and if you must, 10.13 High Sierra. 10.13 was the last operating system which enabled you to run 32-bit applications. One thing that came with Mojave, or should I say missing from, that Apple failed to discuss in the keynote at the time, but did flag on a number of occasions, is it will no longer, without compromise, support 32-bit applications. This caused a lot of compatibility problems and is still the case now with the release of Catalina. Many companies who had to rewrite or update their software seem to join the others by bringing out subscription plans. Okay, now let's get on with why you're here. I'll show you how to download your OS, create a bootable installer and backdate your Mac operating system. To get started, there are two main things you'll need to make your bootable install. Number one is a USB key or an external hard disk. And two is the installation files. Once you have those two, the process shouldn't take very long. Before we do anything, you need to ensure that you have a full backup. I would suggest checking out my previous video on how to do this by clicking on the card above. Now, depending on the computer you have, how much memory, and your requirements, I recommend downloading Sierra. This meets most modern security requirements, and you can download all the current latest web browsers. It's very easy to upgrade should you need to later on, but as you can see here, it's not so easy to downgrade. Once created, it's very simple to use CCC, or Carbon Copy Cloner, to make a complete backup. Save going through this process again. I'm afraid due to the changes to the file system, the only way possible is to reformat your hard disk. This is due to High Sierra and above. Use the AFPS format, and we need to use the previous HFS Plus, which Apple's been using since 1998. The existing Time Machine app benefits greatly from this structure of HFS Plus backups with all their hard links. AFPS broke this, causing many problems with Time Machine and still does now. But I won't go into this as it's another video by itself. Let's download the OS. I'll put a link to the download images below. Before you can create an installer disk, you'll need to get hold of the installers for the versions of macOS you want to use. Unfortunately, getting hold of these files is not as easy as you might be hoping. Depending on the version of macOS you are running, you might be able to find the older versions in the Mac App Store. However, these files might not be available to you if you are running a more recent version of the Mac operating system. Prior to macOS Mojave's arrival in 2018, the installers for the older versions could be found via the Purchases tab. So, if we go and take a look, this is my machine running Catalina, and if I go to the App Store and then go view my account, as you can see, there is no system software there at all. Now if I go to my other machine on the right, which as you can see is running Sierra, if I go to the App Store, which is exactly the same account, and then I click on Purchases, as you can see, it's got some of the same stuff, but then down here I can download Mavericks, I can download Yosemite, I can download El Capitan, or down the bottom I can even go back to Lion or Mountain Lion. But since I upgraded to Catalina, as you can see, the operating systems are no longer available to download. That's assuming you purchased them, not as if you actually physically had to pay for them. They still appeared as a purchase, but it's at zero cost. However, when Apple launched Mojave, the macOS store changed and the installers were no longer downloadable from the store, unless you were using an older version of macOS. Right, so first of all, let's download OS X, or the version you want to use. I will put a few links in the description below, because there's several places you can download them from. In fact, even though you can't see them on the Apple Store, currently you can still load them from the Apple Store, or you can still download them, sorry, should I say, from the Apple Store. Now, one of the links I have here, and I will just show you, if I paste that into the browser, you'll see the file will start downloading Install OS. So in the meantime, while that's downloading, let's format the USB key or the hard disk, whatever you decided you want to use. So in my case, I'm going to plug this USB key inside here. So all you have to do is open up Disk Utility, which I have here. It's in your Application Utilities folder if you need to know. So we'll click on that and we're just going to erase it. We need to make sure it's macOS extended. And just for the purpose of this, I'm just going to call it Sierra Install. You need to make a note of the name that you're actually creating here because it's important later. Okay, so now that's erased. If we go and have a look. Right, I'm going to pause the video for now and I'll come back when this is finished downloading. Okay, so now that's finished downloading, we're ready to create the disk image. So let's close that. Now if we go to the downloads folder, we can see what we just downloaded. It's called Install OS. So let's click on it and it mounts on the desktop. Now what that does is it will create an Install Sierra package inside here. Let's have a look inside the applications folder, and just to make sure I don't have one in there already, HI install, no we haven't. Right, so if we double click on that install image, continue, right, we can see it's just starting to create this install macOS Sierra. Now, if you download it from the Apple Store, you don't need to go through this little process. It automatically creates the install macOS Sierra folder in the applications folder for you. Now, if by any chance it does go to run, you'll probably get an error on the screen. That's because it's no longer signed anymore for you to be able to install it. The only way to really install it is what I'll show you a little bit later on, is you need to unplug it from the internet and set your date and time back. So there it is. You can tell it to move to the trash afterwards. Okay, so there's your installer. So now we need to launch Terminal, which is in your applications folder, utilities, and there's Terminal. And we need to type in this command, which I will leave in the description below. Now I do like to add something at the end of this command. No interaction, and say done, and hit return, and then it will ask you for your password. Now you can see here where it says volumes Sierra install. Now that's why I said you need to give it the correct name. So if you call it untitled, like when you generally format most hard disks, they're just called untitled, you need to make sure you change the name here to match whatever you've called your hard disk. And now you can see it's erasing the disk and copying the necessary installer files across. So I'm just going to pause the video for a second until this finishes, and then I'll come back to you. Okay, so we've downloaded the installer files. We've copied the installer files to the USB key or to your hard disk or wherever you're installing it to. And now we're ready to install them on the Mac. Now, at this stage, you need to make sure you've got a full backup of your machine, you know, using Carbon Copy Cloner or something along those lines. But, you know, you do need to make sure, because all your files are going to go once we do this. So let's go and start it up from the Mac. So you plug your USB key or your hard disk into the Mac. And then you restart it, making sure you hold down the Alt key. Of course, your Mac needed to have been shut down doing this. Right, so as you can see here now, you've got two options. You've got your original hard disk, which I presume is still bootable, and now you can see the USB key in orange. So let's click on the USB key and start it up. Now at this stage, it may take a little bit longer, depending on how fast your hard disk or USB key is. So for the purpose of the video, I'm going to skip forward through this. Okay, so now it's started up, we need to launch Disk Utility. Now, Disk Utility, we need to initialize your hard disk. Now, because I don't want to initialize my hard disk inside this machine because it's working, I'm going to plug in a USB key and go through the process, and I'm going to initialize that instead. So you'll see your hard disk here if you just click on it, and then you can click erase. You need to make sure it is OS extended journaled, and then click erase. This shouldn't take too long. And there you go. So let's click done. Now we can quit Disk Utility. Now, depending on the OS that you're installing or that you downloaded, you can normally just click install macOS. But on here I know it's going to fail, so let me show you. So as you can see, it says it's damaged. Now it's not damaged, it's just that the certificates have expired or Apple stopped signing it. So there's a simple way around this, and that's to go into Terminal. So let's go and do that. So now we're in Terminal, we need to change the date. It's quite simple to do. All you got to do is type in date followed by 10 numbers. Now these numbers will consist of the month, then the day, then the hour, then the minutes, then the year. So if we want to change it to the 7th of May at 12 o'clock 2020, we would do 07 05 12 00 20. So let's go and change it. Now we need to change it back to 2018. Now I don't know when you're watching this video, but if we set it back to 2018, no matter what year it is, then we can't go wrong. So let's go and do this. So we're going to type in date, space. So for the purpose of this, I'm just going to go to 10th of May at 12 o'clock 2018. So I'm just going to type in 18 and then hit return. So now we can quit Terminal, and when we go back to launch install macOS, you can see it's now let us go to the next stage. So let's go ahead and install it. So now we've got the screen, we can install it on my Mac's hard disk. That's why I called my key. Obviously you're going to select whatever the name of your hard disk is. And that's it. Okay, so now you've installed your operating system, your Mac would have been completely restored as when you first received it. You can now go through setting it up again by following the on-screen instructions and then copying back your data. Or you may want to at this point start again afresh, setting up by reinstalling your software from scratch. A few things to note however. Number one, your previous Photos library will no longer open in the newly installed Photos app. However, you can always right click on it, select Show Package Contents. In here you will see a Masters folder. You can just drag this onto your newly created photo library and then all your photos will appear. Number two, you cannot copy your email across as it will not work. However, if it's a Google account, an iCloud account, or it was set up as IMAP, your email should all download again the minute you set up your email in Apple Mail or Outlook. Number three, if you've made a clone of your hard disk as suggested in this video, you can always boot up from it again by plugging it into your Mac, holding down that Alt key, and then selecting your external backup drive. Number four, if you have any problems remembering passwords, etc., and you've never synchronized using iCloud, you can always boot up from the external drive and it will appear just like, before we even started this video. You can then open up Keychains, which is found in your Utilities folder in Applications. In here, you will find many of your passwords that are stored before restoring your Mac. Number five, many important files and settings are stored in your own library folder. On your current booted system, this can easily be found by holding the Alt key after clicking on the Go menu. To find this on the external drive, it's slightly more difficult. However, you can click on the Go menu, click on Go to Folder, and then you can drag your Users folder from your backup drive on here. At the end of it, you can just type in /library, and when you hit return, you'll see that hidden library folder from your backup drive. From here, you can copy your preferences, your settings, your application support, and your email if you wanted to. Also, to view hidden folders in 10.12 and above, you can always hit the Command period button. However, this does not necessarily work on external volumes. Now, I was planning on talking you through this and helping you transfer your data, but it would make this video way too long. If you are interested and would like me to create a video walking you through this, along with many more useful tips, please let me know by commenting below. So, question of the day, what do you think of Catalina? What is your reason for downgrading? Is it preference, performance, or was it software related? And what system are you thinking of downgrading to? Also, please let me know what videos you would like me to do in the comments section below. That's it for now, and I hope you found this video interesting. Thanks for watching everybody, and if this video helped you, be sure to hit that like button and leave a comment in the section below. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel for more of my useful videos. This is Darren from iFixApple. Thank you.